Hey, do you see time as a tool? I'm Katie Hornor of Handprint Legacy and Handprint Legacy Live, by the way, which is coming up very soon. You can get your tickets over at Handprint Legacy Live and get your first or your next online marketing funnel all mapped out. But time is a tool. Time is a tool. Money is a tool as well, by the way. Time and money are both tools that we can use to our advantage or to our disadvantage in our business. And that's what I want to talk about here for the next few minutes today. Time and money are both tools. What does that mean? Well, if they're tools, then I have to recognize that they are in and of themselves neutral. They have the power for good or they have the power for evil, and it is up to me. I am the determining factor in which of those two is going to be true. And so in my business, it is totally up to me to decide whether my time is going to be used for good, used for me, or used against me. It is totally up to me to decide whether my money, my finances, my resources are going to be used for me or against me. I am the determining factor. I'm the deciding factor on whether these things work for me or against me. And so if I say I have no time, then I have decided that time is working against me. If I say I have no money, then I have decided that money is working against me in my business. What I need to do is recognize that the God who owns it all owns my time and resources as well. The God who created time, the God who created the universe, spoke it into existence, also owns the time for my day today. And I need to go to him and say, Lord, how do you want me to use my time? How do you want me to use this to best further the business that you have placed in my hands to bring you glory with? And ask for that wisdom. James talks about ask, if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, because he gives to all men liberally. He gives it liberally, freely, abundantly, without upbraiding, without reprimanding you for asking. So go to God, ask him what he wants you to do with your time and with your money, and he will give you wisdom to know how to steward those well for his glory, for your good, for the good of the people that he has called you to serve, because time and money are both tools that you get to employ as you manage this business for God, who is the owner of your company. Now, the second thing you need to do when you're thinking about time and money is to claim your place in the inheritance. You need to recognize that there is all kinds of money available to you. There are all kinds of resources available to you as a child of God, as an heir of the King who owns it all. Okay, remember, back to the truth. Who owns it all? God does. He created it all. He owns it all. What he's given to me, what I think of as mine, is not really mine to own and use. It is mine to steward on his behalf. He has loaned it to me for the time being. And so therefore, I need to recognize my place in this inheritance. The one who owns it all has more at his disposal. There's more where that came from. There's someone said the other day, I don't remember which call I was on or where this came from, but somebody, I distinctly remember them saying, there is always more money. There is never more time. And so be wise with how you use the time that you have been given, but recognize that the God who owns it all has infinite resources available for you. And so the questions that we need to be asking is not, can I do this? It's how can I do this? Where is that resource going to come from to do this? All right. And so we say with our kids, it's not, I can't afford it. It's how could I afford it? It's not, I can't do that. It's how could I learn to do that? It's not, we can't do that. It's how could we accomplish that? How could we make that happen? And so asking those questions and recognizing that the God who owns it all, the God who entrusted this business to you, is also your King and your Father, and you have access to that inheritance and that abundance that is his. And so ask him for the things that you need and start asking the questions of how could we do this? How could we make this happen? Where could those resources come from to be able to do this next step that I know is necessary in order for me to fulfill the calling and to manage well and to steward well this business that he has entrusted to me. And the third thing is to ask for it, to simply go to God and say, this is what I think I need, Lord. I need it. Can you send it? Because scripture tells us that he knows what we have need of before we ask. He is already working on the answer before we even voice the need to him. And yet he commands us to ask. Let your petitions be made known. Bring your request before God, it says. because he knows what we have need of. He is already in the process of doing that. But just like a good father loves for his children to come and ask him for things and talk to him about what's going on in their lives, he wants us to come and talk to him as well. And he wants us to talk to him about our business. So go to God and ask him for favor. Ask him for that abundance. Ask him for the blessing. Ask him for the resources that you need. Ask him for the wisdom to manage your time well, to be able to do this thing that he's called you to do. Pray over it. Ask for your needs. Ask for wisdom. Ask for help. Some of us think we've got to do this all on our own, and that may or may not be the case. Ask the Lord for help, and he will provide for you. We just had a unique experience where out of the blue, someone called us up and said, hey, I want to work for you for free for this amount of time. What can I do to help you? And we were like, oh, God totally knew that we needed that. And he totally was on time in providing before we even knew that we needed, before we even knew to ask for help. Here's this person willing to help. And so I'm not saying that's going to be the case with everyone, but it certainly was a very interesting experience for us and just reminded us of the truth that God knows what you have need of before you ask. And yet he wants you to ask because the answer is already on its way. And so when you think about your time, when you think about your money, if this is the next right step for you in your business, don't you think God already knows that? If this is the next right step for you in your business, don't you think God already has the resources available to make that happen? Whether it's a person, whether it's money, whether it's an opportunity, don't you think that the God who owns it all, is control of all, the God who is never surprised, the God who ordains and orchestrates all things for his good and your glory is already on it? He's already taking care of those things for you. You need to trust. You need to ask. You need to go to him, acknowledge that he owns it all, acknowledge that he's already got the answer on the way, make your needs known, and then trust that he's going to answer for you in his time and in his will. And that gain and that increase will come. So see your time as a tool, steward it well. See your money as a tool, steward it well. Ask the question, how could I? Instead of just assuming that you cannot. And then ask for wisdom and ask for what you need. God will provide it. I don't know who needed to hear this today, but I felt strongly that we needed to get that word out there. Comment below wherever you're watching this. Let me know if it was a blessing to you. And if you want to hear more about this, we're going to be going into more detail at our 3-day marketing training, Handprint Legacy Live, the end of June. I would love for you to be there. Tickets still available at handprintlegacylive.com. You can get all the details and register now to do that. They are selling out, so don't waste time in going to check that out. But again, Lord, is this the next step for me? How could I make that happen? I would love to see you at that event so that we can spend 3 days of God's time on your business, helping you realize how you can grow this thing to be able to reach more people for the glory of his name, and so that you can do those things that he has called you to do.